Today we are producing more than 3 million pages, including more than 2,000 videos and 180,000.
His mega mansion in LA raided after the Epstein files released. And what they found will shock you. This hip-hop mogul is now facing allegations that have left the entire industry shaken to its core. And I'm talking about evidence that could potentially end his career and land him behind bars. Behind the billionaire empire, the carefully crafted public image, and the Roc Nation dynasty, Jay-Z was allegedly moving in circles and engaging in behavior that ultimately led to his name appearing in some of the most controversial documents in recent history. We're talking about connections that go deeper than anyone imagined. The shocking truth behind what's bringing down one of hip-hop's biggest names is darker, more complex, and more disturbing than anyone imagined. From industry grooming allegations to connections with convicted predators, we're about to reveal it all with receipts, timelines, and insider testimony. Yo, what's good, fam? We about to dive deep into some real industry politics that's been shaking up the hip-hop community like never before. This isn't just gossip. This is about power, corruption, and how the music industry has been protecting certain people for decades. Now, before we get into this wild ride, let me keep it 100 with y'all. Social media have been going absolutely crazy with rumors about Jay-Z and these Epstein files. Twitter's been on fire, Instagram's been buzzing, and everybody's got an opinion. But yo, we about to separate the facts from the fiction, the real from the fake, because there's a lot of misinformation floating around. Now hold up before y'all start thinking this is just another conspiracy theory or some internet trolls trying to bring down a successful black man. We're talking about documented connections, industry relationships, witness testimonies, and patterns that go back decades. This isn't about hating on success. This is about accountability. But here's where it gets real spicy, and I mean real spicy. See, the music industry has always been a place where power gets abused. We've seen it with R. Kelly. We're seeing it with Diddy, and now the spotlight's turning to other major players. The question isn't whether these things happen. The question is, who's been getting away with it for years? So check it. When those Epstein files dropped like a bomb on the internet, people were scanning through hundreds and hundreds of pages looking for familiar names. We're talking about court documents, depositions, flight logs, and personal communications. And there it was, multiple references to Jay-Z that had people doing double takes and screenshot marathons. According to the files, there were multiple instances where Jay-Z's name came up in connection with industry events, private gatherings, and business meetings. We're not just talking about casual mentions, we're talking about detailed references that suggest ongoing relationships and regular contact with people who are now known to be predators. One particular document allegedly shows Jay-Z's name on a guest list for a private event in the Hamptons back in 2003. Another reference talks about business discussions involving entertainment industry figures. Now, being mentioned doesn't automatically mean guilt, but it definitely raises serious questions about the circles he was in.
Now, in the industry, we know networking is everything. Your connections determine your success, your deals, your opportunities. But when your networking includes people who later get exposed for serious crimes against minors, that's when the conversation gets uncomfortable real quick. The internet went absolutely wild when these connections came to light. Jay-Z Epstein was trending for days. People were pulling up old interviews, old photos, old business partnerships, trying to piece together a timeline. The Beehive was in defense mode, but even some of Jay-Z's most loyal fans were asking questions. But yo, this is where the story gets deeper than just name-dropping in documents. See, the connections between Jay-Z and some questionable figures go way back, and they're more extensive than most people realized. We're talking about a web of relationships that spans decades. Let's talk about Harvey Weinstein for a minute, because this connection is crucial to understanding the bigger picture. This wasn't just some random Hollywood networking situation. Jay-Z and Weinstein were linked to multiple projects together over the years, and I'm talking about serious business partnerships that made both men millions of dollars. They worked together on several film projects, including some documentaries and music-related films. Weinstein's company distributed content that Jay-Z produced. They were at the same industry events constantly, moving in the same circles like they were best friends. We're talking about Cannes Film Festival appearances, Oscar parties, private industry gatherings. Jay-Z even thanked Weinstein publicly in interviews for helping him understand the film business. I'm talking about on-camera acknowledgments, red carpet shout-outs, business partnership announcements. This wasn't a casual acquaintance. This was a relationship built over years, maintained through multiple projects, and leveraged for mutual benefit. For y'all who might not understand how deep these industry relationships go, let me explain. When you're at Jay-Z's level, every connection is strategic. You don't just randomly end up with people. These relationships are cultivated over time, maintained through regular contact, and leveraged for specific purposes. Nothing happens by accident at that level. Weinstein was known as a kingmaker in Hollywood. He could make or break careers with a phone call. For Jay-Z, who was trying to expand beyond music into film and other entertainment ventures, having Weinstein's backing was incredibly valuable. But at what cost? And what did Jay-Z know about Weinstein's other activities? The real kicker, though, when Weinstein got exposed and all those allegations came out, suddenly all these connections started looking different. People started asking questions about who knew what and when they knew it. Because in Hollywood, everybody knows everybody's business. The idea that Jay-Z was close business partners with Weinstein but had no idea about his predatory behavior, that's hard to believe. But here's where it gets interesting, and I mean really interesting. Nicki Minaj decided she wasn't staying quiet anymore about what she's allegedly witnessed and heard in the industry. She went on a whole Twitter storm that had the internet in complete chaos, posting some serious allegations about Jay-Z's past behavior that nobody saw coming.
Jay-Z's relationships with young women in the industry, talking about patterns that allegedly went back decades. She brought up Foxy Brown, questioning the nature of their relationship when Foxy was allegedly just 15 years old. She mentioned Aaliyah, talking about Jay-Z's interest in her during her teenage years. She even brought up Beyoncé, questioning the official timeline of when they met and started dating. According to Nicki's posts, the Foxy Brown situation was particularly problematic. She alleged that Jay-Z was involved with Foxy when she was underage, and that this was an open secret in the industry that nobody wanted to talk about. She posted old clips and interviews that seemed to support these claims, including that infamous Wendy Williams interview where Foxy made some very suggestive comments about Jay-Z. Now, Nicki's been in this industry long enough to know where the bodies are buried. She's worked with all the major players. She's been to all the industry parties. She's heard all the gossip. When she speaks on industry politics, people listen because she's seen it all firsthand. And she's got nothing to lose at this point in her career. The real tea that got everybody shook was when she started talking about industry rituals and power structures. She wasn't just throwing random accusations. She was painting a picture of a whole system where powerful men use their influence to exploit young women trying to make it in the industry. The response to Nicki's tweets was immediate and intense. Her mentions were flooded with people asking for more details, sharing their own stories, and connecting dots between different industry figures. But there was also a lot of pushback from Jay-Z fans and industry insiders trying to discredit her claims. What made Nicki's allegations particularly damaging was that she wasn't just talking about Jay-Z in isolation. She was describing a pattern of behavior that allegedly involved multiple industry figures, suggesting that this kind of exploitation was systemic rather than isolated incidents. Let's break down the timeline that's got people talking, because this is where things get really problematic. We're going back to the 90s, when Jay-Z was coming up in the industry, building his reputation and establishing the connections that would later make him a mogul. Multiple sources have alleged that there was a pattern of targeting young women who were trying to make it in music. The allegations include a relationship with Foxy Brown that allegedly started when she was just 15 years old and Jay-Z was 27. Now, these aren't new allegations. They've been floating around for years, but they've gained new attention in light of recent events. There are old interviews where Foxy made comments that, looking back, seem to confirm an inappropriate relationship. Then there's the Aaliyah situation. Multiple industry insiders have alleged that Jay-Z was interested in Aaliyah during her teenage years, and that there was some kind of competition between him and Dame Dash for her attention. Dame Dash himself has made comments that seem to support this timeline. And then we get to Beyoncé, which is where things get really complicated. The official story is that they met when she was 18, but there are allegations that they actually
16 or 17, and that Jay-Z was pursuing her while she was still a teenager. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, has made statements suggesting that he witnessed Jay-Z with a teenage Beyoncé at industry events. In the hood, we know power dynamics are real. When you're a young artist trying to make it, especially a young woman, and someone with Jay-Z's influence shows interest in your career, that creates a situation where the power balance is completely off. You're not dealing with equals. You're dealing with someone who can make or break your dreams. Dame Dash, Jay-Z's former business partner, and someone who was there during Jay-Z's rise, has made comments over the years that support some of these timeline questions. He's talked about Jay-Z's interest in young women, and he's been notably uncomfortable when asked direct questions about some of these relationships. What makes this even more problematic is Jay-Z's decision to work with R. Kelly on multiple albums, even after it was widely known